being a part of this worship time. Whether you're watching my live stream or watching it later, welcome. And hope that you will join us in person whenever you have the opportunity.
Hi, I'm Susanna Hollinsett, the children's minister here at Oliver Creek. I want to share with you what you can expect during today's worship service. We will sing songs together, we'll pray together, we'll take time to hear a message from God's Word, and then we'll take time to eat the Lord's Supper and remember Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection. All of this is for the goal and purpose of connecting with God and with each other.
We're gathered around three core principles that really make up our mission here. The first is to glorify God, and we do that through our worship and also by the ways that we live our lives Monday through Saturday. We're also committed to loving one another by the ways that we speak, by the ways that we're present in the highs and lows, by the ways that we share our homes with one another. And we're committed to blessing the world. So we don't want to keep the love and power and grace of Jesus to ourselves, but we want it to spill out from us into our community, into the city, and all across the world.
Hi, I'm Seth Turner, one of the ministers here at Oliver Creek. We want to welcome you to our live stream this morning, but we also want you to know that we believe here at Oliver Creek that we're not just a church that happens on Sunday, but a community of believers that are being formed by Jesus Sunday to Saturday. From our youngest members to our oldest, we want to be a church that's happening every day and in every single moment. One way you can learn more about us is to go to olivercreek.org, where you can find more about our ministries, our values, our beliefs, our leadership, and so many other things. And also, we want to make sure we mention this morning to like, comment, and share this video, because you never know who may be encountering the message and good news of Jesus for the first time.
Hello, I'm Greg York. I'm one of the ministers here at the Oliver Creek Church of Christ, and just want to thank you for being a part of this worship time. Whether you're watching my live stream or watching it later, welcome. And hope that you will join us in person whenever you have the opportunity.
Hi, I'm Susanna Hollinsett, the children's minister here at Oliver Creek. I want to share with you what you can expect during today's worship service. We will sing songs together, we'll pray together, we'll take time to hear a message from God's Word, and then we'll take time to eat the Lord's Supper and remember Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection. All of this is for the goal and purpose of connecting with God and with each other.
We're gathered around three core principles that really make up our mission here. The first is to glorify God, and we do that through our worship and also by the ways that we live our lives Monday through Saturday. We're also committed to loving one another by the ways that we speak, by the ways that we're present in the highs and lows, by the ways that we share our homes with one another. And we're committed to blessing the world. So we don't want to keep the love and power and grace of Jesus to ourselves, but we want it to spill out from us into our community, into the city, and all across the world.
Hi, I'm Seth Turner, one of the ministers here at Oliver Creek. We want to welcome you to our live stream this morning, but we also want you to know that we believe here at Oliver Creek that we're not just a church that happens on Sunday, but a community of believers that are being formed by Jesus Sunday to Saturday. From our youngest members to our oldest, we want to be a church that's happening every day and in every single moment. One way you can learn more about us is to go to olivercreek.org, where you can find more about our ministries, our values, our beliefs, our leadership, and so many other things. And also, we want to make sure we mention this morning to like, comment, and share this video, because you never know who may be encountering the message and good news of Jesus for the first time.
Hello, I'm Greg York. I'm one of the ministers here at the Oliver Creek Church of Christ, and just want to thank you for being a part of this worship time. Whether you're watching my live stream or watching it later,
Late because of the rain, I guess. All right. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Just a bit more volume would help, maybe, just a little bit. Thank you. That's better. The door.
You okay? You okay?
Dave White is going to do it.
Yeah.
Dave. Okay.
Are you okay?
You know,
No, not yet.
it's kind of an unwritten rule around here that we don't get started until Sharon is seated. It's just kind of the way it is, so we're
I didn't
always
say
just kind of waiting, and
that. Got me in trouble.
then it will be official.
You didn't hear him, did
I did hear him.
you? You did hear him?
Yes, it did. All right.
So don't worry, Dan. It's not gonna start till we get.
Okay.
Dennis, could I just say, those of you
Yes.
that are going to eat fish
Important
today-
announcement.
Yeah,
Important.
and I'll try to get it later, but Trudy's called me like yesterday. They'd like us to be there at 4:30, so 4:30 today,
Instead of,
5, instead of 5.
4:30 at Trudy's.
And
They do check your license at the door, make sure you're old enough. It's just for us senior citizens. May not be Keith. I don't know if you would qualify or not. Yeah. All right. Good to have everyone here this morning. We got a refreshing rain, I think, through the whole area, which was a good thing to get. It's always good to get a little rain. We were getting a little dry. So we are glad for that.
we are so thankful our wedding was last week and not this week, since it was outdoors.
Okay. So 4:30 at Trudy's. Everyone keeps asking me about the books. I guess I'll have to make a call, but they told me it would be the end of the month, and this is kind of the end of the month. I think we're there, so I'll give them a call tomorrow, and we will hopefully maybe next week have books. I hope so anyway.
Oh, you got it. I didn't know you had to. You didn't tell me you had to.
When my second semester at Freed Hardeman, my roommate, who had preached for a little church out in the country, had graduated and left, and he recommended me. And so my second semester at Freed, I started preaching for the Plainview Church of Christ, which, by the way, is still there. But so that began my every Sunday preaching career in the summer of 1967. My new roommate, Sam Thomas, lived in Athens, Alabama. And so he invited me to go home with him, and I did. And we both went out in the country to an old barn where a man by the name of Shorty Harwell fixed up and repaired old Volkswagens. And so Sam and I both bought old Volkswagen. I bought a 58 black Volkswagen, a little bug. And he bought a newer one. I paid $250 for mine. He paid $500 for his. So he got a little bit nicer one than I did. I had to, to preach, I needed a car, and to pay for the car, I needed to preach. So, cars and preaching have a real connection throughout all of my career. My old 58 Volkswagen got me back and forth. It had a 36 horsepower engine in it in the back, if you held the accelerator to the floorboard on a straight highway, you could hit 55 miles an hour. I didn't do a lot of driving, of course. I was in class, but I would fill up every other week for about $2.25. It, of course, didn't have cruise control. It didn't have any cup holders in it. It was straight shift, of course, 4 on the floor. Didn't have air conditioning, no.
Radio.
Had a little AM radio. Had a little AM radio in it. It didn't have a gas gauge. Had a little lever down on the floor, and when you felt your car running out of gas, you would throw that lever, and it would dump 1 more gallon of reserve gas, so until you could get to the service station. It didn't have anything like that. One day, a really rainy Sunday evening, I pulled into the youth center where we would all gather on Sunday nights. Been real rainy, and I went to turn the windshield wipers off, and they just kept going. So somebody that knew a little more than I did, a kid came, and we raised the hood, and he got under there and found the right wire and cut it in 2, and that stopped the windshield wipers. So I got real smart, and I found me 2 alligator clips, and I put those alligator clips on those wires, and when it would start raining, I would pull over off the road, jump out, lift up the hood, put the alligator clips together, get back in the car, and I had windshield wipers going. It was, of course, made a steel body. It had a big, pretty good-sized bumper for the car that it was. I say that to say this. The car that I drive now has no comparison to my old 58 Volkswagen. The car I drive now has, of course, cruise control. I have radar cruise control, which I can set a certain distance, and then once I get to a vehicle in front of me, it backs off and stops, and it'll keep me that right distance. There's no going to sleep and running into the car in front of you. It won't let you do that. I, of course, have satellite radio. I love my satellite radio. I can listen to Fox News and the PGA Golf Channel when I'm on the road, which I love doing that. It has basically a fiberglass body. It has windshield wipers that I don't even have to fool with. It has a setting, and today when I pulled out and it was raining, somehow that windshield has sensors in it, and it starts running the windshield wipers at just the right speed. I don't even have to fool with that. It has a setting on the headlights that at night it'll throw the high beam, and then when it sees the car, it'll lower it by itself. It's got a lane control thing that if I turn that on, if I get over too far, I'm texting and I get over too far, it'll beep, beep, and it'll throw me back in the road. So as you can see, there is no comparison between my old 58 Volkswagen and my 2018 Lexus. And I could take the comparison a little bit further if we wanted Keith to talk about his vehicle, that he doesn't need to steer in it. It'll drive itself. And by the way, when we were in Arizona, they have the Wagos, and I use them quite often. They are driverless cars. You just send a text, the car comes to your street, it opens the door for you, it has your name flashing up there, you get in, it says, "Welcome, Dennis," and you close the door, and away it goes, and it takes you where you want to go, and you're just sitting in there by yourself and no driver. I say all that to say that someday your tired old body will slide into a brand new body that is made of different materials with the latest technology designed to last for an eternity. Our new body will be as different. Just imagine your new body will be as different as my old Volkswagen is to these cars sitting out in the parking lot. And I want us to look then at our resurrected body today and understand just what we've got to look forward to. And when we think about the hereafter, there's nothing that is more fully and completely explained and described to us than what the scriptures tell us about our new resurrected body that you're going to have. And so it should be of tremendous interest to all of us to know and to understand that we're going to get a new body, and we want to understand as much as we can about that new body. So we're going to mainly be looking at two passages in the Corinthian letters. The first one, if you would, turn over to 2 Corinthians chapter 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 4. I use an old term, to turn over to that. I could say, well, open up on your phones 2 Corinthians chapter 4. We're going to begin here at verse 16 and go through a few verses in chapter 5. Therefore, do not lose heart, though our outer body is decaying. All right, that should be good news, okay? Don't lose heart. You're getting old. Your body is decaying. I hate to bring you that news, but don't lose heart over that. As we get old and we can't do the things we want to do, and we ache in the morning, and we ache in the afternoon, and we ache at night, don't lose heart. Our outer man is decaying, yet our inner man is being renewed day by day. That inner man is your soul, and you're getting closer to God every day. I am amazed as I have ministered to people who are terminal, how that inner body, that soul, begins to feel a closeness to God. It always is interesting to me that there is a certain peace, that there is a certain looking forward to that new body. So the inner man, as we get older, your inner man gets stronger and closer to God. As the outer man, your physical body, is decaying. Verse 17, for momentarily a light affliction is producing for us an eternal weight of glory far beyond all comparison. Now, we've tried to make a comparison today between these old vehicles and new vehicles, but it's really beyond all comparison what we are going to be involved in, this transfer from the old body to the new body. It's the eternal weight of glory that your new body is going to have is far beyond comparison today. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So we can't see beyond what is temporal. We just can't. But what is beyond temporal, physical world is eternal. There is an eternal world waiting for us, and we are going to become citizens of that eternal body. Now, chapter 5 continues, for we know that if the earthly tent, which is our house, is torn down, we have a building from God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. So just think of your body as being a tent. The tents are temporary dwellings, right? You go camping. How many people here have actually gone tent camping? Yeah. In the Army. Yeah, that's right, you did, yes. Yeah. Now, my wife, her version of camping was our Class A motorhome. That's when she liked to go camping, but even that, so, we're not so attractive with that tent, but that tent is folded down and put away with. It is a temporary. It's torn down. But we have a building. Our body is a tent that's going to just collapse, be torn down. But we have a building from God, a house not made with hands, eternal in the heavens. And he's speaking about this building from God is our new body that God is creating and building for us. We have a building that was not made with hands, meaning that it's a spiritual building that is eternal. It's an eternal building in heavens. Verse 2, for indeed, if in this house we groan, longing to be clothed with our dwelling from heaven. In this house we groan. Any groaning going on in the mornings when you get up? Huh? A few little aches and pains we are all experiencing now. Yeah, in this house, we do a little groaning and aching, don't we? Oh, my back hurts. My back hurts. Oh, I've got a headache. Oh, my knee's going out on me. In this house, we groan. We begin to feel all of these aches and pains that are there. So in this house we groan, longing to be clothed with our dwelling. We all long for what? We all long to be young again, don't we? We all think back when we were kids or teenagers or when we were in our 20s or 30s. We all think about, boy, I used to be able to do this and I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to hit the ball 250 yards. I used to. Can't do it anymore. And when I try to, I groan. So we long though for those days again. We long for those days. My mom, bless her soul, she died at 91. She hated being old. She hated being old. She wanted to be young again, and in her mind, she was still a teenager. She wanted to go on this trip and that trip. She wanted to do this and that. I said, Mom, you can't make it. But we long for that to be clothed with our dwelling from heaven. Inasmuch as we, all right, now here's a good thing here, verse 3, inasmuch as we, having put it on, will not be found naked. Well, that's comforting. That in the next world, we won't be naked, right? You know, for most of us, it's definitely an assurance that we can be happy about. We won't In other words, but really what he's saying is that our souls, as I've tried to explain, and I think I'm right on this, our souls in the realm of the dead now, our soul exists in its spiritual form. We're a spiritual soul. But when we are resurrected, when the Lord comes back and we are taken back up to heaven, we won't still be in just our soul just existing, but rather we're going to be given another body. Just as when you were born, God breathed into your sweet little old 6-pound, 3-ounce body, made you a living soul. It gave you a soul that would live forever. And so he put the two together, and we know that death is when our soul separates from our body at death. So when we go to heaven, we won't be just that soul. It's just our soul walking around, but rather our soul will be joined again with a new body. Just as God gave you the body you live in now, you will be given a new body when we ascend to the throne of God. You won't be found without a new body. Now, there's I think, a great comfort I get or acknowledgement that there is a value of my soul being in this body. In other words, if my soul was not in a body, it could not accomplish everything that it wants to accomplish. Our soul basically operates through a body. And that's the way it will be in heaven, that in heaven you will be given a body to function in. And that body will be an eternal body rather than a temporary tent as it is here upon the earth. All right, verse 4. Any questions at this point? I'll actually... Yes.
Okay, so you're saying, I understand you right, that when this tent is destroyed, what it says here, that we're just some kind of spirit, we don't have a body, because it says when this tent is destroyed, we have a building from God. It says at that time, we will have our building.
Yeah.
It doesn't say anything about.
Well, at some point, and we'll see, it'll tell us when that will occur. We're going to see it, we'll be told that. But yes, you're right in that we function now. Our soul is able to serve God, but it must do it through our bodies. There's a connection here. And when our soul, when this body dies, can no longer function, then the soul moves on. And it is waiting now for God to give it another body. And that's the body that we're wanting to look at and to study about. Yes, Keith.
If that body comes at the ultimate resurrection, when the four come again together on home, what do you think our form or substance is while we are in the realm, Hadean realm? Is there a difference here of being out of the body, awaiting the new body that we will have in heaven while we are in paradise, waiting for Jesus?
Yeah, we talk about ghosts. What are ghosts? I mean, when we understand what a ghost is supposed to be, what do we talk about? What is a ghost? When we read stories or we look at Casper the Ghost, or what is a ghost?
Spirit.
A spirit that what? That doesn't have a body, right? It's a spirit that doesn't have a body. That's a ghost. And that's what would be a ghost. The old King James actually uses the Holy Ghost. Okay. So yeah, we're in a spiritual form. We are a ghost without a body, waiting for that new body to be given to us, and that's what we're kind of looking at here. All right, let's look beginning at verse 4 then. For indeed, while we are in this tent, we groan, being burdened, because we do not want to be unclothed, but to be clothed, so that what is mortal will be swallowed up by life. So, as he says, we're burdened in this body. We groan, we have pain, we suffer death, and we don't want to be unclothed. We want to be clothed. We want a new body. We want that new body to be given to us. So what is mortal will be swallowed up by life. It will die. Now he who prepares us for this very purpose is God, who gave to us the Spirit as a pledge. So the Holy Spirit is with our spirit, and he has given us the Holy Ghost as a pledge that we will be given that new body. Okay. Therefore, being always of good courage, and knowing that while we are at home in this body, we are absent from the Lord. Remember, that's what Paul said. I'd much rather to be absent from this life to go and be with the Lord. So while we are in this body, we're absent from the Lord. You can't go to heaven in this body. It is this body that is keeping you from God. It is this body that you must get rid of if you want to go and be with God. And time will kind of take care of that, but you've got to shed this body in order to be able to be with the Lord. So as long as we're in this body, we're absent from the Lord, and we struggle with a lot of things when we're in this body that keeps us from being as close to God as we want to be. We struggle with temptations and issues, and even health issues that keeps us. We're absent from the Lord. But verse 7, we walk by faith, not by sight. What we're studying, what we're looking at here, you've got to accept this by faith. That what the Holy Scriptures are telling us now is encouraging. It's encouraging to know that we're going to get a new body. It's going to be better and stronger and live forever. Got to have faith that that's going to happen. So verse 8, so we are of good courage, and I prefer rather to be absent from the body and to be at home with the Lord. That's what Paul has said. I'd much rather, I'm ready to give this body up, and I'm ready to go be with the Lord. When my mom was told that she had just weeks to live, she kind of leaned forward and looked at that doctor and said, "It's okay. I'm ready to go be with the Lord." She was ready to get rid of that body. This is keeping us from going and being with the Lord, and I see it time and time again. Time and time again, when people are near death, they're ready to give up this body, and they're at peace now with giving up this body and going to be with the Lord. Verse 9, therefore we also have as our ambition, whether at home or absent, to be pleasing to him. So whether we are at home with him there or absent from him in this life, we're trying to be pleasing for him. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may be recompensed for his deeds in the body according to what has been done. So we're in this body, but we're recognizing that this body is not going to last forever, and we're ready to give this body up and to go be with the Lord. All right, now let's turn over to 1 Corinthians chapter 15 as we now want to look at this body and see a little bit about it. Well, what about this? Okay, we've got to get this. We're folding up our tent and we're getting a new tent, and we want to find out about this newer version, this new body that we're going to be getting. This sounds like a pie in the sky. I want to figure this out a little bit. Okay. As I said, nothing is explained to us any better than what than the questions we have about the body. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 15. The first part is about the resurrection of Christ and our hope that you will be resurrected. And if we don't believe that we'll be resurrected from the dead, what are we doing here? In other words, that's the whole thing. And our belief that we'll be resurrected is based on the fact that Jesus was resurrected. And we look at the eyewitness accounts, we look at everything. And so by faith, we believe that we will be resurrected and given then a new body. So we're going to look then, the second part of this chapter deals with that new body, verse 35. But someone will say, well, how are the dead raised? And with what kind of body do they come? How are the dead going to be raised? Well, we're kind of believe that they will be raised much like Jesus was raised. He was raised from the dead, and Jesus was given a new body. Don't want to get into this a lot, but I want to be sure we get through this. But I talk about it some in the book. When Jesus came out of that tomb, wasn't the same body he went in the tomb with. That's my belief. Wasn't the same body. It looked like Jesus. It had the nail prints in his hands and in his side. But this guy could appear in a room right through walls. This guy could travel through space. This body, you could know Jesus, and yet those men on the road to Emmaus looked at this guy and didn't recognize him. He was different. He had a body that was recognized, but he was different. And I dare anyone to try to say that wasn't the case, because it wasn't the same body. He had been given this body. He had been given eternal life. So how were they raised? Okay, how is that resurrection going to come? Okay, verse 36. Well, you fool. It's simple. That which you sow does not come to life unless it dies. And that of which you sow, you do not sow the body which it is to be, but a bare grain, perhaps of wheat or of something else. But God gives it a body just as he wished, and to each of the seeds a body of its own. So every seed produces a body of its own. I didn't realize this, living in the Delta for many years, I come to learn a lot of things about agriculture. I mean, I grew up a city boy, but when men, for example, plant cotton, they don't plant one seed. There's like a pot of like 4 plants that are there, and so that they are assured of a large stand of cotton from that one plant. But when you plant cotton, you expect to get cotton. But you don't expect to get a seed. You expect to get a plant. So that stalk of corn, you plant that seed, but you don't want it to just produce another seed. You want it to produce a whole stalk. So that which you plant is not that which you want to reap. You want to reap what that seed, once it dies and is buried, then it, boom, bursts forth a new body, and that's what you are interested in. So it's a very, when we put our loved one in the ground, we don't want them to be resurrected in that same body, do we? A deaf man doesn't want to be resurrected in that same body. They can't hear. Man with one leg doesn't want to be resurrected in that same body that, missing a limb. So when we bury our loved one, we don't want them resurrected in that same body, especially if they're 102 years old and can't hear. We don't want that. We want them to be resurrected bring forth a new body. That's what we want. And so he's telling us that that's what happens when you bury that body. That's not the body that you're wanting to come out of that grave. I went Friday as, Cecil May passed away. Yes, Brother May died early Sunday morning. His funeral was in Montgomery, but his burial was at Kathy's Home Congregation in Pine Grove that has a beautiful cemetery. Brother May and his wife, when they were young, preached for the Fulton Church for several years. And he went out to Pine Grove a lot to help preach for them, sometimes on Sundays, and then later he held meetings there. And early on, he and Winnie, his wife, saw that beautiful cemetery, and they made a decision that's where they wanted to be buried. Winnie died 9 years before, and so she's buried there. And so I went Friday to the burial out at the beautiful Pine Grove Cemetery. All of his family was there, and there were 11 preachers just in the area that attended. So there was a pretty good group, and we had a little, inside the building, had a little ceremony for Brother Cecil. Looking there, I could turn and look up at the back of the church building, and one of those windows has got an air conditioner in it. That was my office when I first came there. They didn't have a church office. I was their first full-time preacher, and that was my first, quote, full-time work. But I would look, and so I picked that back classroom as my office, and I would look back over that cemetery all the time, and I would think that's where I want to be buried. I used to tell my wife, if I die, bury me just as close to Brother L.B. Webb as you can get me. L.B. was one of the elders then, a sweet man, a dear friend. And I thought if I could get pretty close to him, I'd be in good shape when the Lord comes. And I always had this vision, well, this would be a great place to come up out of the ground, and just a beautiful spot, and to go be with Jesus. This before I learned my Bible like I needed to. That body's not going to come up out of the ground. We're told it goes back to the dust of the earth. And we don't want that body to come up out of the ground anyway. We want a new body. We want a better one. We want an eternal one. We don't want that body again. No. We want a better one. So that's what he is saying here, that we don't want that which we plant in the ground. We want something better. So, verse 38, now look at this. So God gives it a body just as he wished. Just as he wished. What did God wish for Adam and Eve? Didn't he wish them to live forever in that beautiful garden? Eternally, that's the body that God wished man would have in the beginning. They were going to live forever. But when they partook of that fruit, the Hebrew term is dying, you shall die. Meaning when they ate that fruit, their body began to die. And as we all know, when we are born, we begin to die. But that wasn't what God wished. He was wishing for Adam and Eve to be there forever. But so that's what God wished. So he gives it a body as he wished, and to each of the seeds a body of its own. Now, all flesh is not the same flesh, but there's one flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another flesh of birds, and another of fish. Okay, when we're given this new body, what will it be made of? Will it be red blood cells and white blood cells? Will it be a heart and a lung? If you cut yourself, will you bleed red? By the way, I understand that our blood is actually blue. When it's exposed to air, it turns red. It's actually, you talk about being a blue blood. Well, we all have. If you look at your veins, they all even have a little blue tint to them. But I don't know where that came from. What kind of flesh are we going to have? Well, look, God's created all kind of different flesh. He's created. Look at the flesh that fish have. Look at the flesh that a cow has. Look at the flesh that a chicken has. Look at the flesh that a lamb has. So God's created all kind of different flesh. So don't think that somehow he can't come up with a different kind of flesh. You'll have as we would say, a flesh and blood body, but it may not be a flesh and blood body as we understand it, but you're going to be made up of something. It's going to be a real body that you're given. And God is going to give you a new kind of flesh. And so don't be surprised at that. Just look around at all the different kinds of flesh that he made. Not only that, he goes on to say there are also, verse 40, also heavenly bodies and earthly bodies. But the glory of the heavenly is one and the glory of the earthly is another. Have any of you seen, you see them sometimes on a post on Facebook or something, we've got that little Mariner space thing on Mars now, and you can see it'll scan, it'll give you, a nice picture of the landscape at Mars. Any of y'all seen that? Well, it's just Mars is just old red soil, dirt stuff, and everywhere there's a big boulder here, and there's a big boulder here, and there's a big boulder here. And there's no mountains or anything. It's just a big glob of red dirt. But this world we live on is different. He created this world differently than he created Mars. So just think of all the different earthly bodies. And Mars is not the same as the sun is. The sun is a different body, thank goodness. And these stars are all different from our planet. So God is capable of creating all kind of different bodies and all kind of different flesh. So he's going to give you a body that he wished you to have in the beginning, and it's going to be made up of all different kind of flesh. So verse 42. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown a perishable body, but it is raised an imperishable body. It is raised. I think that means in the resurrection, it is given that imperishable body. It is sown in dishonor. That old person, that old body is sown in dishonor because it is aged and it's no longer function. But it is raised in glory, it is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, but it is raised a spiritual body. So what is being raised is a spiritual body, which is our soul, our spiritual body. So the physical body, temporal body, is being sown. the natural fleshly man. But in the resurrection, it's the spiritual body that is raised. And if there is a natural body, then there is also a spiritual body. So if God put your spirit, your soul, in a natural body, well, he's also going to put it then in a spiritual, eternal body. He's not going to leave you like Casper the ghost floating through, haunting, everyone. It's going to be given, you'll be given a new body. As verse 45 says, it's written, the first man, Adam, became a living soul. The last man, Adam, became a life-giving spirit. So Adam became a living soul, but the second Adam, Jesus, gave that soul a life-giving spirit. However, the spiritual is not first, but the natural, and then the spiritual. So you can't just go skip this body and go straight to the eternal body. You have to go through, only way to go to God is through this body that we're given. Verse 49, just as we have borne the image of the earthly, you'll also bear the image of the heavenly. I don't know exactly how to interpret that. Some might say just as you have looked young and beautiful in this world, you're going to be young and beautiful in the next. I think that sounds pretty good to me. You'll bear the image of the heavenly, meaning being an eternal thing, like the angels. You'll be eternal in the heaven. Rush a little bit here, verse 51. Behold, I tell you a mystery, we will not all sleep, but we will all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. We will not all sleep, meaning we will not all die. I'm still hanging on just because I want to be here when the Lord comes back. That's where I want to be. I may not make it, but Lord, I'm hanging on as long as I can. We'll not all sleep. Not everybody will die. There'll be some people living on earth when the Lord comes back, and I would love to be able to see that. So this is a mystery. I'm explaining something to you that's kind of been understood for a while. Not everybody's going to die, but we all will be changed. In a moment, in twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet. So at the last trumpet, we all will be changed. Everyone living. The dead will be raised imperishable. All right, where are the dead? The dead are in paradise, and they will be raised. When the trumpet sounds, they, in paradise, in the Hadean realm, they will be raised imperishable. So I think that is my understanding according to the scriptures. And the dead will be raised imperishable, and we, the dead and the living, we will be changed. For this perishable must put on the imperishable, and this mortal must put on immortal. But when this perishable will have put on the imperishable, and this mortal will have put on immortality, then will come about the saying that it is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is your victory? O death, where is your sting? But thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. So when the Lord comes back, when that trumpet sounds and the heavens peel away and the Lord descends with all his angels, nobody else will die. It's over. Every undertaker out of business. Nobody else is going to die. It's over. Death will be swallowed up in victory. Everybody on earth will be changed in that moment, twinkling of an eye, and that mortal body is going to be given immortality, that new body that we've talked about. And then it'll be complete. Death will be swallowed up in victory. There'll be no more death. We all then will live for an eternity. For some, that may not be a very good thing. But for those of us who trust in the Lord, how nice. And as I said, when we'll go up there and live forever and ever. And to that place where we can truly sing when we've been there 10,000 years. Bright, shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing his praise than when we first begun. Sweet, sweet thought. Yes, way back here.
Whatever form Jesus comes with, that trumpet sound with the angels will receive for those Jesus allowed.
Yeah.
And we'll see him. We will see who he is, whatever spiritual Jesus is now living in heaven.
Yeah, as he is, yeah. As Jesus is now, which is sitting on the right hand of God, having overcome death. I want to just finish with the last verse, chapter 15, verse 58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your toil is not in vain in the Lord. Everything you're doing, by being here today, by giving up sleeping late on Sunday morning, by being here today, by being in this class, you will be rewarded. It's not in vain. Everything that you've given up to serve Jesus and serve the Lord, everything you've given up, everything you've gone through, it's not in vain. Look what you're going to get. A new imperishable body in the great place we call heaven. I have to preach next Sunday in Tunica. I'm sorry, I already had that obligation. And Brother Ed, sitting right here, is going to speak to you from the book of Isaiah. Yes.
It's a major theological point that I saw in verse 51, posted in a nursery at church one time. We will not all sleep, but we will all be changed.
There you go. That's right. It's good. We'll not all sleep. Yeah. Yeah. We'll not all sleep. Yes. So some will sleep more than others, I think. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, y'all. Been a good class. We will see you in 2 weeks. And hopefully the books. Everybody's asking me about the book. 21st Century told me that we should get them by the end of the month. That would be June, and I think we're there. So I will call them this week, and I'll let you know when they get here. It'll be like we'll put it up here, and we'll put a banner out front, and we'll let everybody know that the books are here. Everybody keeps asking me about the books, but the book's a lot better than the teacher, I think. Thank you. Thank you.
I need to ask you a question.
Sure.
It was in the 2 Corinthians at the last, before we went to 1 Corinthians. It said that we would leave the room and go to God, and He would, and then you would have your good things and bad things told to you, and He would make His decision. But since we're Christians and we were saved for what we did when we were younger, is He going to start when we became Christians on? Is that?
You're talking about being judged?
Yeah, being
Yeah.
judged.
Well,